Everyone dreams of living an uncommon life, and the best asset you have to achieve your dreams is you. Welcome to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living uncommonly. We're also going to give you some tools and strategies for building wealth and for pursuing an uncommon path that is uniquely right for you.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. And it's me talking about something that's super important that we're all kind of shooting for. It's retirement. Holy cow. The anxiety that happens before retirement. You would think this is crazy, right? Because you would think everyone's like, this is what you've been training for. This is everything that you wanted to do. You get to this point and a lot of times there's anxiety that is induced. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is what we can do about it and just maybe kind of the mindset that happens when you step into retirement. So I always tell people, this is kind of a big chapter in your life. Every day is a Saturday, which is awesome if you think about this. You've worked so hard, you've developed this nest egg, you've really impacted the world. Now you get to step off and do things that you always wanted to do. But here's the deal. There's a curb involved. I call it the retirement curb. And that's when people have been working for so long, they've been accumulating wealth, and then now it's time for them to live off their money. That's anxiety producing, I would say. I would say that that's, at least from what I see from the people that we get to work with, we have the privilege to work with, there's a hint of anxiety that happens. And it's just a different kind of income that they're getting. They're now living off their nest egg. A couple of things that they'll be thinking right away is, am I going to be running out of money? That's probably the biggest thing. But their whole life, they've been working for money, and now they get their money to work for them. That's something that I think is something at least to talk about. So that's what we're talking about today. Thanks for listening. We're always grateful that you take time to listen to our podcast. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking it, all those things. We really appreciate it. So here we go. So your whole life, you work really hard, you amass this wealth, you have this nest egg, and then you get to start living off your money. Well, hopefully you've been working with an advisor or a planner that can tell you, hey, you're going to be fine. This is your roadblocks. Here's your kind of parameters that you can start living off of, your income that we've kind of thought through. You know what your income's going to be. The two biggest things, and we've said this time and time again here in the podcast, that we're really planning for is how much do you need to live comfortably, cash flow, right? How much cash flow do you need per month? And then how long do you need the money? Basically, how long is your retirement going to be? So those are the two questions. The second question, you really don't know, right? You're starting this journey and you don't know when the destination is. When are you going to graduate? And for those of you who are just tuning in, graduating to me is when you pass away, depending on what your faith is. Let's just be really frank. So that's the two kind of big pitfalls. So when you step off into retirement, man, it feels amazing. Every day's a Saturday. Things are going great. But when and where and how are we going to get our next paycheck? Is it going to be too much? All these things can be really planned out. So one, to ease your fear, the people that are working with an advisor or a planner can really have a lot of confidence. So first things first, if you don't have an advisor and you don't have that, I would say jump on the horn. Go start interviewing these advisors, see which ones you would like, because the first thing you're going to ask is like, hey, am I going to run out of money when I retire? When can I retire? When do I want to retire? All these questions that I think can be planned out and kind of thought through. These things can be answered. So here we go. So I think there's a couple things that I see. One, when there's a huge curb, like we talked about, where you've been working for your money, now you're not working at all, and you're having your money completely work for you. That's 100% curb, or a drop off, or a ledge where I was working, now my money's working for me. That's a pretty challenging, I would say. It's just anxiety producing, just something new. Again, you're going to get used to it. It's going to be fine. But the things that I see in the uncommon train, the people who are like, I'm still going to go impact the world. I'm going to go still do things and maybe get cash flow, maybe not, doesn't matter, but they're going to be super excited about the next phase because they have purpose. They have a driven purpose. They have something in mind for that next phase. Super important. Versus the people, and there's statistics out there, the people that just go retire and just don't do a lot and don't have a lot of purpose. Statistics show that you die in about 7 to 8 years, which not many of my clients have that goal of just, I'm going to sit on a beach or I'm just going to go retire on the golf course. Maybe that's you. But a lot of our clients are people who are like, no, I'm going to go serve more people. I'm going to go do these things. And they have kind of a direction, and every day is a whole different thing when they're on mission. So that's something to maybe think of, differentiating yourself between just the common side of things where you're just excited to just not do anything. And there's a season for that. Hear that. But for the most part, we really do want to have purpose and driven. And I believe that's biblical to continue to use God's gifts that he's given to you in order to further his kingdom and to impact other people. That's an uncommon journey. So that's kind of cool. Here's another thing too, that people kind of get anxiety driven about is like their health. Like there's 3 stages in retirement that we say, and a lot of advisors say this. This is not, I did not make this up, but it's the go phase where you are just living your life. You're feeling great. You get to travel, you get to do things. You're physically capable to do it. That's the go stage. Then there's a go slow stage where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm just going slower than I used to. And then there's the no-go stage. Even like you could say the retirement home, the long-term care kind of thing, that kind of like the no-go stage. You're just not doing much. So there's 3 phases in retirement. What I really want to just help people with is like, how do we go and go and then at the end kind of go slow. That kind of gets me excited. So, but the health concerns are some of those things that like, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen, which is valid. That's a valid concern. And that's why, just like retirement, when you start saving money, there's things that you can do early on that can help you with your health, exercising, eating healthy, those things like that. So, but that's the second concern. The first concern, am I going to run out of money? Valid. Second one is, what is my health going to be? And then the third thing that I think causes some anxiety in retirement is this loss of identity or purpose. Your whole life you've been working and people have been relying on you, and you've been using your goals and your gifts and all these your strengths, and you've been providing. And then now you don't really have that. You have this loss of identity or purpose. They might not be driven as much. And so I would really challenge, and we challenge our clients to like, what is the next thing that you're going to be purposeful about in this phase? How are you going to keep pushing the envelope? And I'm telling you, the times that you can do this, you see this time as a freedom that you get to use to just continue down this like purpose and to give you identity and purpose. Now it's going to be a little bit different. And sometimes that's a little confusing, and sometimes that takes some time. Totally get it. But for the most part, when you start thinking about your purpose and identity, it's not going to be what it used to be. It's going to be changing. Maybe it's going to be, I'm going to be the best grandma or grandpa or grandparent that I can be. Maybe it's time for me to pour into other businesses like I used to. Or let's say you love golfing. Hey, what if I go take 5 people and teach them how to golf? Teach them the skill that I love and I continue to love. How do I do that? And how do I start kind of helping other people love the same thing I do? So there's another saying that we've said in this podcast is like, when somebody dies, a library burns down. So what is the thing in your library that give you experience, that you have a lot of wealth and knowledge on, that you can pass to the next generation? You can pass to somebody. Maybe you start mentoring your grandkids. Maybe you start mentoring some people at your church, or you go to the ARL, you love dogs, you just continue to pour into that. Those are the things that you want to start being purposeful for. Okay. The last thing is just maintaining social connection. there's a lot of things that, like I said, produce anxiety, but that's another thing is like, how do I surround myself with people now that every day is a Saturday? Now, the people I'm hanging out with might not have every day as a Saturday. What does that look like? And that can produce anxiety. So I think those are 4 things, but here's what I would say if you are starting a little bit younger, let's say 40 or 45 or 35, whatever, is how do you start increasing your cash flow that you don't work for? So maybe it's a rental property. Maybe it's a business and you and hire an employee that really helps take things off your plate. But those are the people that I think step into retirement, and there's really not a big curb. It's not this, I've been working my whole life and now I don't work at all, and now I have to focus on my money to help me. It's this, hey, I've been increasing my cash flow over the last 15 years. And yeah, my income from my current job is going to go away, but my income from this other kind of side gig isn't going to go away. That curve doesn't seem as big. And so you can continue to refine that as you go on in your years, and gives you purpose, and will also give you purpose outside of your current job when you're in retirement. Super interesting. So that's kind of my challenge is like, hey, what could you start doing now that you would have purpose and be excited about if you're not retired that could continue to maybe have cash flow, to have like a business entity? Let's be honest, like taxes are set up for businesses. And so if you continue to have a reason to have a business in retirement, that could help you with taxes as well. I'm no tax expert. We always have to say that, but it's something to think about. And I just wanted to give people one, when you retire, it is so amazing. And like, I get to watch this probably every month of people are stepping into retirement, and it is an honor and so fun because they've worked so hard. But in the back of their mind, they're a little bit anxious. And so working with an advisor or a planner really does help ease some of those things. Maybe doesn't completely take them away, but I think it does minimize them to a point where you're like, I have a plan and I have somebody to talk to if something doesn't go according to plan. So retirement, it's exciting. And also something that I hope I never do, because I want to continue just to keep pushing the envelope and keep pouring into others, keep challenging myself. Now, will it always be with Uncommon Wealth Partners? I don't know yet. I'm only 43. But I hope that there's a next generation that helps Uncommon Wealth Partners go to the next level. And then I can kind of pour into Uncommon Wealth Partners in a way that's maybe different. But I continuing wanted to evolve, and I want to keep pushing myself. I want to have purpose and all those things. So I appreciate you listening. If you're not a retiree, if you are a retiree and you are having all these anxiety things, hey, reach out. I would love to talk to you and just encourage you. Like, there's a lot going on. And so it could be helpful just to have a relationship with somebody, just, hey, let's talk through these because you're not alone. I think a lot of people have these anxieties. So thank you for listening to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. I've been your host, Phillip Ramsey. Until next time, go be uncommon.
That's all for this episode, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.